Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while Bitcoin is still forming this pattern on the larger time frames, we're seeing a new pattern forming right now that's getting extremely close to breaking. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Ethereum, which is now playing out this short-term bullish signal, while Solana is currently bouncing from critical short-term support. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the Bitcoin ETF news today, and on Friday, we actually saw another decent inflow of $203 million as a net inflow going into the Bitcoin ETFs. And so obviously we finished the week quite strong, and if we're looking at the breakdown, we actually saw a very large inflow into the BlackRock ETF of over $300 million going into BlackRock alone. And then we saw around an $83 million inflow into Fidelity, relatively small inflows into the other ETFs, and the usual outflow from Grayscale, this time close to $200 million coming out of Grayscale just on Friday. And so overall, once again, this leaves us with a net inflow for Friday of $203 million, which basically means that's $203 million of new money coming into Bitcoin to buy up Bitcoin. And so as I've been saying recently on the channel, if this continues as more of a trend, if we consistently see these relatively decent inflows, these large inflows of hundreds of millions of dollars coming into the Bitcoin ETFs each weekday, then it's only a matter of time before this starts pushing the price of Bitcoin much higher, because there's only so much Bitcoin to go around. So if this buying pressure continues, then at some point it will force the price much higher. But with that being said, getting into the Bitcoin charts today, this is on the weekly time frame, and right now Bitcoin is still potentially repeating history as we are struggling around that all-time high breakout level, which is very normal to see. We have seen this in past bull cycles. And so do not be fooled by short-term bearish price action, because once again, we can see short-term bearish price action even during a larger bullish trend or a bull market. And we can see what happened last time we finally saw a confirmed breakout above the old all-time high. Obviously, we could see what happened next. So all we need to see is a strong breakout here into fresh new all-time highs. And once we enter that price discovery mode, obviously things can get very explosive. And so it's important to understand the bigger picture, what's going on here on the larger time frames, despite what happens on the shorter term, on the smaller time frames. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, looking at the DXY over the last one day, the DXY has not really moved all that much, so it's looking relatively neutral, at least in the imminent short term here. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, as I said in my last video, right now the price of Bitcoin is potentially forming a symmetrical triangle pattern on the daily time frame with a descending line of resistance and an ascending line of support. And right now that line of support is sitting at around 65,000 approximately, and this line of resistance is sitting at around 71,000 approximately. And if we see a confirmed breakout above that resistance, that would set up a bullish price target for this pattern. But on the other hand, if we confirm a break below this support, then that would set up a bearish technical price target for this pattern. And if you want to know what those price targets are, then watch my last video here on the channel, because I talked more about that in my last video. And I also talked about a potential trading strategy that we can take with the next breakout here. Whether we're going to the upside or to the downside, we can make money in either scenario. And personally, I take trades just like that over on Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also leave a link to Bitflex down below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can enter an exclusive Apple Watch giveaway, which is ending soon. Just by trading crypto on Bitflex, you can enter this giveaway. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well get set up ready to go on one of those exchanges using those links down below this video if you want to claim those extra bonuses. But anyway, if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, right now the price is running into critical short-term resistance, which is sitting in between around 68,000 to 69,000. And obviously over the last couple of days here, we have struggled around this area. So far over the last few days, we've actually seen multiple rejections from this exact price range on the chart. And so this is definitely an important obstacle for the price, at least in the short term, which means if we finally confirm a breakout above 69,000 here, then in that case, we could potentially return up towards this level of resistance, which is sitting at around 71,500. And as we can see right here, that is strong resistance for the price at 71.5k. And above that, we should find more resistance right here in between 73 to 74,000. And as for short-term support, in case we see yet another rejection from this resistance, then in that case, we have this area of support, which we've also bounced from just recently. And this area is sitting in between 65 to 66,000. And below that area of support, we also have more support right down here at around 61 to 62,000. And as I also said recently on the channel, right now the price is looking relatively neutral at the moment in terms of the trend and momentum just in the short term here, because essentially the price is just consolidating in this sideways price range right here in this triangle pattern. And so basically we're just waiting for the next signal to confirm either a break above resistance or below support in order to flip much more bullish or much more bearish, at least in the short term when we're talking about the short term moves here. But remember, all of this is currently occurring within a much larger bullish trend when we're zooming out and looking at the bigger picture. But if we're zooming in again into the short term, looking at the 2-hour time frame, we can see that right now the price is potentially forming an ascending triangle pattern with this area of resistance and this ascending line of support. First of all, this area of resistance is sitting in between around 68,500 to 69,000. So once again, 69k is the level to break, at least in the short term. And this ascending line of support is currently sitting just above 67,000, more specifically around 67.3k. And so once again, we're just waiting to see a confirmation signal, either confirming a break above this resistance or below this support in order to set up the next short-term price target. And if we're taking a look at some potential short-term price targets for this new pattern right here, if we confirm a breakout above 69,000, then that would set up a bullish price target at around 72,000. But on the other hand, if we see a confirmed break below that line of support, below around 67,000, then that would set up a short-term bearish price target at around 64,500. And so once again, no matter if we're breaking out to the upside or to the downside, we can make money in either scenario. And we can do that by using a trading strategy that I talked about in my last video. So once again, if you missed my last video, definitely watch that video if you want to know about a short-term trading strategy where we can make money no matter if the price is bullish or bearish with, for example, a long position or a short position once we confirm a signal. But at least for now, while the price is still in between resistance and support, because we have not yet confirmed a break of either of those levels, as of right now, I am not currently in any trade because we have not yet confirmed the next direction in the short term. We're still looking relatively neutral, at least for now. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can still see a lot of liquidations, a lot of liquidity in between around 69,500 going up towards around 71,000. And we also have some decent levels of liquidity to the downside at around 65,000 and more liquidity at around 64.4k. And so this is potentially another reason as to why we're looking relatively neutral in the short term, because we simply have major liquidity both to the upside and to the downside, which basically means the price is relatively balanced at the moment. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, right now the price is still trading just below this critical area on the chart, which is sitting in between around 3.4k to 3.5k. But we still have not yet confirmed a weekly candle close well below that area, because the next weekly candle close is in around 1 day from now. And so, of course, there's still a possibility that we could close above 3.4k when it comes to this weekly candle close. We just have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. And if we're zooming into the short term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, over the last 1 day, we've bounced basically perfectly from this area of support, sitting in between around 3.2k to 3250. And we do have a little bit of resistance right here, sitting at around 3360 approximately. And if we break out above that level, then it is quite likely that would return up towards this area of resistance, sitting in between around 3470, going up towards around 3530. And above that, we have some very important resistance at around 3650. And also what we saw over the last one day was a slight bullish relief in the price of ETH, which was to be expected because once again, I talked about this bullish divergence just yesterday, saying how it's very likely that over the next 1 to 2 days or so, it's very likely we're going to see either a slight bullish relief or at least some neutral price action, basically a break from all of that bearish price action here in the short term. Because in case you're new to all of this, a bullish divergence, which is lower lows in the price and higher lows in the RSI, means that it's very unlikely we're going to see significant bearish momentum, at least in the short term. And here on the 3-hour time frame, usually these bullish divergences play out over a couple of days or so. And so far it has been 1 day, so potentially it could continue to play out over the next 1 day or so. But ultimately, just in the short term, we're still basically looking relatively neutral while we're still in this sideways price range right here in between that area of support and that area of resistance that I just mentioned earlier. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the 4-hour time frame right now and over the last 1 day, Solana bounced perfectly from this area of support, still sitting in between around 167 to 172. And so for now, that is the area of support to pay attention to in case we see any short-term pullbacks. And as for short-term resistance, I would now be expecting resistance, first of all, at around 177. And above that, we have this line of resistance, which is sitting at around 181. And I would only start to flip a little bit more bullish again in the short term, basically start calling for more of a recovery in the price out of that short-term pullback once we actually confirm a breakout back above this line right here, once again at around 181. And so in that situation, if we break out back above 181, then we could potentially return up towards around 189 to 190 as the next short-term resistance. And above that, the next important resistance is sitting at around $203. And if you want to trade these moves in the price of Solana or any other crypto, then check out those links down below this video if you want to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.